Congratulations, it was really quite affecting.
Oh, good.
I really liked it. And I mean, I know this is the same question, but given our time, the genesis of the story is obviously interesting, and the real life. So if you want to just talk about.
So we did start with my dad, who came out of the closet when he was 75 after my mom passed away, and it was very, as you can imagine, very chaotic, crazy moment in our lives. Who was this guy that been with all these years? Who is this guy now? But he went from being one of the more kind of stuck, emotionally dampened people I know. Very sweet, very kind guy, but like kind of muted, you know. He went from being that and like 75, I thought he was going to just pass away any day. I was getting his clothes for him, I was getting his food for him, to like just totally revived, totally emotionally open, vivid, doing all these things he's never done before, seeing a trainer, getting testosterone shots, having boyfriends, and not doing it in a way that was totally clean or when I say clean, I mean like it was very chaotic, but it was so positive and it was so crazy to see someone do this huge positive change so late in the game.
Yeah.
That's what made me want to report that, you know? And then also when he passed away, after he passed away, I was in this, like, my own moment of feeling so emotionally intense and, like, so keyed into how fragile everything is. And I thought, oh, I should report this. This is, like, the biggest story I know about in a real way. And that's what I should do as a filmmaker. That's the kind of story I should report.
And it really was 2003.
No.
No? Okay.
So I fictionalized lots of stuff. Or, you know, to me it was also like, you know, as a filmmaker, I don't really believe in objectivity or real or fiction and documentary. All those categories I find are sort of more professional categories than real things. As a son of a man who pretended to be one thing for 33 years of my life and then was another thing, the questions of like what is real and what is not are very vivid to me, are very vividly blurry. And that became a big part of the whole story. And the film is filled with lots of like very factual things, or like that's really my mom's Dorothy Lange photo with the daisies, or that's really the church they got married in, which is truly blocks away from where Ginsberg really was writing hell, you know. So there's all these factual things, there's all these very personal memories that have been turned into a story and turned into Plummer's version, you know. And then there's a very fictionalized element, like the love story, and parts of the dad thing are totally fictionalized. So I happily blended all those things. It felt very true to like my ideas of how blurry real is, and as a filmmaker, that kind of like hybrid collage is the most exciting to me.
And was it? I mean, given that, I mean, sure, it was partially fictionalized, but when you were going through that process of making it, was it hard to sort of watch that sort of recreation and then watching two amazing actors portray something that obviously was very difficult?
No, because by that, our first agreement was like, we have to be totally unprecious with my father and anything involving me and everybody. That was just the agreement, and it was very easy. It was very easy, and I love shooting so much. I'm so fucking happy to finally get to shoot the movie with these amazing actors. I was just high as kite the whole time. And if your father ever has been in a hospital, if you want to do some therapy, go be a director in a hospital where you get to control everything and dad's fine. It's like it really kind of tames the whole thing. So it was never a heavy scene. I felt very lucky to get to do this, to get to do a movie like this. I've been trying to do it for years and years and years. And everybody was like doing it from such a great place, the crew and the cast. It was like a really magical, happy time.
And those, I mean, the three of them are amazing. They're really, really amazing.
Yeah, I love them.
And one thing I really appreciated about it, I did grad studies in queer cinema, and I mean, this is sort of this interesting side of that story, and I thought that was really authentic and really, it affected me in a way I didn't really expect it to, and I it's not really even a question, but that's just my little comment that
that's interesting. Keep going.
I mean, going because you tied in queer history a little bit in sort of an interesting way, and from a perspective of someone, you know, they may not be queer identified, but they they're associated with their father, and that
Yeah.
makes them part of it. I mean,
Yeah.
they know just they're hurt just the same by the.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe even more so in his case. Well, not more so, but in a different way.
Yeah, no, you're the first person to say that, and I've always, to me, that's very true.
And
And it's
that's-
like you live, or like me and my mom live with homophobia, as my dad did, not the same way, but it affected the whole world that we're in, or it's a part of my family in
Yeah.
a weird way.
So can I get a cell
And someone
so that I can call you when...
asked before, like, is it a gay movie, is it a straight movie? So I was like, oh my god, we have to like do that. And I was like, well, if you just look at it practically, it's it's not a gay movie, and then it's not a gay author, or it's not a gay author. Like my dad, I'm really curious what his version of this would have been. From like can you imagine like a 75-year-old gay guy's writing about this? I would love seeing that.
Yeah.
And I'm most worried like, God, I hope my dad and his friends think I got it right. But the film is essentially a straight son's curiosity and love for his dad. And my dad became so much greater when he was gay. Like he became so much more emotionally open, and his friends were such a real awesome little group of guys that like helped each other so much. Like when my dad was in the hospital, his straight friends were kind of a little afraid in hospitals, and all his gay friends had been through so much. They knew like all his meds. They knew the nurse. They knew everything, and they're just in there and having parties in the hospital. And that the scene that he entered, I cherished. It was so great for him and fun to be around. And
Are you still in contact with some of his?
they all live in Santa Barbara, and I live in LA. So a few of them were actually tenants of my dad. But I haven't talked to him for a little bit. This film has like swallowed me for like the last year.
Would you want them to see it? I mean, hope that.
I do and I don't. Yeah, I do very much, and I'm very nervous.
It's understandable.
Yeah.
And I guess as for the film itself, since we're pulling up, what do you want from it? I mean, what sort of do you think the post-TIFF life for this, or ideally for this?
Well, I hope when I made this, while it's super personal, for some weird reason, it's like, okay, if you're gonna fucking do this, you're gonna out all this stuff, your family, your dad again, you have to go for it. You can't be like little. So that from the beginning, I was like, who knows what happens? You have no control over what happens, but I want to make it with the potential to big of an embrace as I can, or as much of like outward energy as I can. So for me, this is me trying to like go as big as I can. So, and who knows what happens, and I have to just like let it go in a way. But of course, I hope a lot of people see it, and I think my dad would really like it that way. Like he's a very public guy. Before he came out as a museum director, and when he came out, he just kept coming out to anybody he possibly could, So I think he'd be psyched.
It's a big coming out.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. He'd be really into that.
All right, I guess.
So sorry for such a strange.
No.